Spiritual gaslighting. This is a new term for me. I was actually listening to Day 2 London of Cover by God by Tiffany Montgomery, her ministry, and she was talking about spiritually gaslighting yourself. And I was like, wait a minute. This is deep. And I've definitely have experienced me spiritually gaslighting myself. And maybe some of you guys have, but you just never really had a name for it. And I was like, okay, I really got to look into this thing because, so basically it looks like you telling yourself that whatever you're feeling is not what you feel. And so you basically just ignore it. You ignore the feeling, and you're just telling yourself that you're being irrational for whatever reason. And it's literally a form of self-sabotage when you really think about it, because it will lead to double-mindedness, it will lead to confusion, and it will lead to you being crippled mentally, physically, spiritually. And it'll make you unwise and blind and deaf spiritually. So in my experience, when I have spiritually gaslighted myself and trying to navigate, like, am I seeing what I'm seeing? Like, am I going crazy or what? By Yah's mercy and his grace, he would reveal it to me in some way, shape, or form, whether it was through like another, just a separate situation, or someone coming to me about something, or someone just mentioning something to me, because they see the same thing, but it's just, I don't know, it's just out of the blue. And it's like that confirmation, that validation, like, no, daughter, you saw what you saw. You're not going crazy. You're seeing, and you're seeing well. And it always makes, like, that's like the gift of, it is the gift of discerning of spirits. Because it basically like makes you a watchman. You're able to see certain things that sometimes everybody might not see. Everybody just going on with the flow of things. You're like, something's not right. Or everybody's, going along with a person that's like, that person ain't right. Sometimes you're not even able to identify the why. But I think as time goes on, you get to a point where it's like, Abba may not give you the why. When he just shows you something or tells you something, you're like, oh, I'm just being obedient to it. But when you're in that process of learning, you're going to have those moments where it's just like, am I seeing that? And he's confirming, because he's teaching you. I always think about Jeremiah when he was like teaching him, like, hey, what do you see? When he gave Jeremiah those visions and asked him. It always, I don't know, I just always think about that. But yeah, so the gift of discerning of spirits, it makes you a watchman over your house, your land, yourself, your family, your friends, so you can pray and intercede for those individuals, okay? Or if you're led to, give them a warning, like, hey, well, you are supposed to give them a warning, obviously, if you're watchmen, right? But sometimes you're not supposed to say anything. You're supposed to just intercede for a person as well. So you have to go to Yah, with the things that he is showing you, And one of the things I'm thinking about is like, how do we get to that point where we, well, I guess I should say, what does it look like when we actually spiritually bypass? And one of the things I thought about is when we heal from trauma. We know that Yah has given us, we have our personality, right? And he created us, like he knew us before we were in the womb. But then trauma happens, life experiences, just, and it perverts our personality. It literally perverts our personality. So as we heal, we're literally becoming who we were called to be, who we are purposed to be before the womb, which is so cool. And so it's like with the perversion, right? We can be so far right, but then all of a sudden, we're healing, we're growing, and we'll go all the way far left. And it's like, no. Where's the middle? Like, where's the middle? And it made me think about, so this is going to be an example. It made me think about just my personality when it comes to like name, to give it a name. I would say that I'm introverted, but I don't like to identify as that anymore because I'm very much extroverted too. It just depends on the situation. It depends on the people that I'm with. Like if I'm comfortable and I'm with my people, I'm going to be highly extroverted. But, or when I'm vending, I don't know, when I'm vending, like I'm just networking and meeting new people, I can be both, like I can be able to talk to people, but then also like chill in the background and just watch as well. But one of the things I found myself doing in the beginning was I'm like, well, I have to be more social. So sometimes I'm in spaces and social settings and I don't want to be bothered. And it's not a thing of like, I don't like people or, things like that. It could just be, well, maybe I'm just a little overstimulated or I'm just in a chill mood and I'm cool. Like I'm actually relaxed and I'm okay with sitting by myself. And, I might talk to people here and there, but I'm okay. Like I don't feel like I have to be in somebody's face the whole time. But then it's just like, oh, well, maybe I should, just try to walk up to someone and be like, hey, how are you? And all of these things and like force myself to keep doing that. And then I'm like, wait, at what point am I going to be okay with, well, if I want to chill out and not really interact, that's okay too. But I just have to have that self-awareness of where is it coming from? Like one time I was, the church I go to, they'll have like social gatherings afterwards or whatever and have food and whatnot and to do lunch. And I'll be okay. Sometimes I'll talk to people and then other times I'm just sitting at a table and just chilling out, relaxing. Some people might come up to me sometimes, or I might be like, oh, hey, how are you to someone else? And then I'm like, chilling off by myself. And I'm okay with that. Like, I'm okay with that. But the thing is, to force myself to go all the way far right, I'm like, well, if I'm so far right and then I go all the way to so far left, I'm like, where's that balance at? Like, where would the balance be? Because I'm just forcing myself into a situation where maybe I'm actually supposed to be paying attention from the background, which that's another story I have to share, because I've experienced being in a space where my spirit was vexed. Okay, like talk about vexed. There was definitely the spirit of Jezebel, definitely the spirit of Kundalini there, and I was like, what is this? And I had to make sure that I stayed guarded. But imagine if I was like, oh, well, I'm feeling this way and oh, it's just me, I'm just thinking too much. And if I spiritually gaslighted myself, I would be in trouble to this day. I would have been in a very dangerous situation, mentally and emotionally and spiritually, in a dangerous situation, even physically, because all of that stuff affects you physically as well. Acknowledge your emotions. If you feel some type of way about something or you're not sure, it does not matter if you're healing from trauma or not. Even when you're navigating healing through trauma, you're still learning. So don't bypass those emotions, because everything you feel, you're feeling that for a reason. And it helps you. Acknowledging that, working through that, submitting that to Yah will allow you to get to the root, to identify what that is coming from. Because sometimes it could be you, and then sometimes it's like, wait a minute, there's something here going on and it's not correct. But you won't be able to identify it if you don't acknowledge it. The truth shall set you free. And in order to identify the truth in your life, You got to submit everything to the one who is true. So I just encourage you to just reflect and think about if you ever spiritually not spiritually bypass, spiritually gaslit yourself, or even spiritually gaslit other people. But that's what I got, and it's been a whirlwind really learning about that and just reflecting on it.